What is up everyone, how's it going? Hope you're keeping well and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. It's been a fairly quiet month on the FPL front with only 2 deadlines for the month of January, so I can pretty much speak for us all when I say I'll be happy to see the back of January once we get through these midweek games. The good news is though, however, barring the international break in March, it's going to be pretty much FPL every weekend, so with 17 game weeks left, bring on the chaos. If you are watching this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below, and if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button below. Stick around also at the end of the video where I'll be heading to a pitch in County Roscommon for my weekly captaincy video. In this video, I'll be showing you how I fared out in Game Week 21, and I'll also be looking at transfer plans and team selection ahead of Game Week 22. That's the intro out of the way, let's get into the video. Looking back at my Game Week 21 review and what seems so long ago, I scored 68 points for the game week, which is a decent return for the team. I've got Estepinian, a haul from Gabriel and Cole Palmer to thank for the green arrow, and I'm now sitting at 111k overall. I'm just 3 points off the top 100k, so hopefully after Game Week 22 I should be inside the top 100k, so fingers crossed that we do get inside it. Going back to that Gabriel haul at the Emirates, I was definitely over the moon to see him come away with a 17 point return after he picked up a goal, a dubious assist and a clean sheet to get those 17 points. Unfortunately, it was announced there during the week by the Premier League that the own goal for Arsenal's second has now gone down as a Gabriel goal, so that means I've missed out on 10 points from last game week, as Saka would have assisted Gabriel for that goal, and Gabriel would have got an extra 3 points for the goal and an extra bonus point because he would have got the 3 bonus points. That means I came away with a captaincy blank when Saka should have returned, but I guess we'll have to move on from there. Thankfully, my new signing Estepinian came away with a massive 8 pointer, and Brighton now have a lovely run of fixtures up until Game Week 28, so hopefully we'll see some more returns from Estepinian over the next couple of game weeks. He was on corners and was playing left wing in that game against Wolves, so hopefully he can get some attacking returns, and I am expecting him to do so. My other new signing, Phil Foden, failed to return away to Newcastle in an absolute thriller of a game. He did have a few flash chances, but was unable to convert. He does have a nice run of fixtures now, starting off with Burnley in Game Week 22, followed by Brentford and Everton, and then a double game week in Game Week 25, so I am expecting Foden to do well over the next couple of game weeks. 68 points for the team was a decent score for the game week, and as I said, I'm now sitting at 111k overall, 3 points just off the top 100k, so hopefully after Game Week 22, we should be inside the top 100k. With Chelsea and Liverpool reaching the EFL Cup final after beating Fulham and Middlesbrough respectively over the course of 2 legs, it now means themselves, Spurs and Luton will also blank in Game Week 26 when Chelsea and Liverpool face it out in the EFL Cup final. It also means there's a lot of popular assets in FPL will also blank that week in Cole Palmer, Pedro Porro, Richarlison, Heung-min Son, Mo Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jota, Darwin Núñez and Colwill all missing out that game week, with Liverpool and Chelsea having that EFL Cup final. It also raises the question whether or not we should be free hitting and blank Game Week 26, with a lot of those popular players already missing out, and with Arsenal and Newcastle also facing off in Game Week 26, it might be a chance for FPL managers to make ground and use a free hit and focus on other favourable fixtures. With Liverpool reaching the EFL Cup final in Game Week 26, it brings our attention back to double Game Week 25. At the moment, we already know Man City and Brentford have 2 fixtures that week, but it also raises the question whether or not Liverpool and Luton will be moved into that game week also. Liverpool are still in the FA Cup and the Europa Cup, and they're one of the firm favourites to win these competitions, or if not win it, at least get fair in them, so that means there won't be a lot of midweek slots left that Liverpool and Luton can slot into. Credit to Ben Crellin over on Twitter, where he has got Liverpool and Luton as over a 90% chance to slot into this double game week in Game Week 25. What do we do with this predicted information? So, even though it's not announced as of yet by the official Premier League, Ben Crellin is an extremely reliable source of information, so I do expect Liverpool and Luton to slot into this game week from his predictions. All of this means we should be focusing our transfers and bringing in double game week players, definitely Man City players, Ivan Toney at Brentford, and if Liverpool do get that double game week, we should be focusing on bringing in Liverpool players with our transfers over the next couple of game weeks. If Liverpool do get that double game week in Game Week 25, it also means they'll miss out in Game Week 26, so this could also see free hits being very popular in Game Week 26, especially if Liverpool do double in Game Week 25. We then move on to Game Week 29, and here's how we're looking out so far. Only 2 confirmed fixtures as of now. Fulham versus Spurs and Burnley versus Brentford are definitely guaranteed fixtures that will happen in Game Week 29. Looking at the Aston Villa versus Chelsea FA Cup tie, if Aston Villa beat Chelsea, Chelsea versus Arsenal will move into Game Week 29, and if Chelsea beat Aston Villa in the FA Cup, West Ham versus Villa will move into that Game Week 29 slot. With the FA Cup 5th round draw, There have been a lot of Premier League sides drawn out against Championship or lower league sides, so this should definitely increase the amount of blank fixtures we see in Game Week 29 as a result of not many Premier League sides facing each other. If all the favourites win their 5th round FA Cup tie, we should see 6 blank fixtures in Game Week 29 and 2 other non-blank fixtures in Luton versus Nottingham Forest and one of Arsenal versus Chelsea or West Ham versus Aston Villa. We'll have to wait for the FA Cup results first to see how the Premier League ties fare out, but it'll definitely be a difficult week to navigate without the use of a free hit, but you could also argue that your free hit chip could be more beneficial in a double game week later on in the season. Shifting our focus back to Game Week 22, we start off with an Erling Haaland update, and the good news is it's a positive one. He's been back in first team full training, and a recent quote from Pep's press conference says, "Now he feels good, and now we give him 3 or 4 more days, and hopefully against Burnley he can play some minutes, his first minutes, we will see." Looking at that quote, as an FPL manager, to be honest, I'm not too confident of a start against Burnley this week. I'm expecting to make a cameo appearance from the bench, but at least he'll get some minutes. That means I'm more than likely going to be avoiding him this week ahead of that Burnley clash, but I'll definitely be looking at bringing him in ahead of Game Week 23 when City face Brentford. Looking at the clean sheet odds ahead of the Game Week 22 deadline, there's no surprise to see Man City top the charts with a 62% chance of keeping a clean sheet in their home fixture against Burnley. There are a lot of FPL managers bringing in Kyle Walker this week with this fixture in mind and the double Game Week 25 fixtures in mind, so if you are one of these managers, I definitely don't blame you for bringing him in this week. Looking at my own team, it's good news for myself as an Estepinian, double Arsenal defensive owner and Pedro Porro owner, with Brighton, Arsenal and Spurs all ranking in the top 5 for the chance of a clean sheet in the midweek games. I'm definitely going to have a benching headache on which defenders are going to play this week, but stick around towards the end of the video for my team selection and see which defenders I'll be picking ahead of the midweek games. Looking at predicted points ahead of the Game Week 22 deadline, Phil Foden tops the charts with his home fixture against Burnley with a predicted point score of 7.2 points, and after bringing Foden in last week where he blanked, hopefully he can turn things around and come away with a nice return in that Burnley fixture midweek. Coming off the back of his massive haul in Game Week 21, Diogo Jota finishes in 2nd place right behind Phil Foden with a predicted point score of 6.9 points with his fixture against Chelsea. Looking at predicted points for Game Week 22 with regards to my own team, it's only alright viewing with only 3 of my players making it into the top 10 in Foden, Palmer and Saka. I think the lack of City players on my team this week may affect the chances of a green arrow, so looking at my transfer plans ahead of Game Week 22, I may need to look at bringing in some extra City cover. So looking at my current lineup ahead of the Game Week 22 deadline, the team is in decent shape at the moment. The only thing probably that's lacking in the team is what I mentioned earlier, is that extra City player for that cover in that Burnley fixture. I've Foden in there for now, so hopefully he does get some good returns, but yeah, I might look at bringing in an extra City player in my transfer plans. Looking at the defence is in good shape with a double Arsenal defence away to Forest, Porro at home to Brentford and Estepinian away to Luton, and hopefully we'll see Estepinian in that advanced left wing position once again. So yeah, the back 4 is looking very, very solid. Moving on to the midfield then, we've already spoken about Phil Foden, so we'll shift our focus onto Bukayo Saka. He's been a frustrating own over the last couple of game weeks, so I really do hope he can get a return against Forest and make up for those last couple of blanks of the last couple of game weeks. Then looking at Cole Palmer, I'm rather surprised to see a lot of FPL managers are actually considering benching Palmer in that Liverpool fixture. Do it at your own risk. I'm expecting a few goals to be fair in that Liverpool and Chelsea game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Palmer return in the form he's in at the moment, and especially with him being on penalties. Dominic Solanke and Ollie Watkins lead the line for me as of now. To be fair, they've both been disappointing to own over the last couple of game weeks. Looking at Solanke, we all know how good he was during Haaland's injury, but he hasn't been up to scratch really over the last couple of game weeks with a few poor returns. Ollie Watkins is the same also. I'll be keeping a close eye on that Newcastle and Aston Villa game. If Ollie Watkins isn't up to scratch, I've got Ivan Toney and Darwin Núñez sniffing for a place at my team ahead of that double game week in Game Week 25. Let's have a look at my transfer plans ahead of the Game Week 22 deadline. Looking at my transfer plans ahead of the Game Week 22 deadline, it is all going to come down to Pep's press conference and what updates he gives on Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne. If it sounds like Haaland is going to start the Burnley game, I'll be taking out one of Ollie Watkins or Dominic Solanke and bringing in Haaland and giving him the armband if it does sound like he's going to start. If it doesn't sound like Haaland is going to start that Burnley game, I'll be avoiding him this week, but I'll definitely be looking at bringing him in ahead of the Game Week 23 deadline, ahead of their clash against Brentford. Looking at my other potential move, I'll be looking at bringing out Mo Salah and bringing in one of Kevin De Bruyne or Diogo Jota. If it sounds like De Bruyne is going to start the Burnley game from Pep's press conference, I'll more than likely be taking out Mo Salah and bringing in De Bruyne ahead of that Burnley clash. If it sounds like from the Pep's press conference that De Bruyne won't start the game and he'll only make a late cameo, I'll be looking towards Diogo Jota with that fixture against Chelsea. Those are my transfer plans for now. As I said, it all depends on what Pep says in his press conference. Knowing Pep as he is, he probably won't say much, so I might have to make my own decisions, but yeah, for now, that's what my transfer plans are. Let's move on then to Pitch and Boyle and County Roscommon, and let's see who I'm currently captaining ahead of the Game Week 22 deadline.
Foden for the Ironman.
With Phil Foden, the only Man City player in my team at the moment, he gets the armband for now, as I definitely want to captain a Man City player with that Burnley fixture. As I said throughout the video, I'll be waiting until after Pep's press conference before I make my moves and the captaincy decision, and hopefully he'll give us a clear indication on Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland's match fitness. If you've made it to the end of this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's hit a like goal of 80 likes on this video. If you are still watching this video and you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button below. I'll be working Tuesday evening right before the deadline, so it might be difficult to get a deadline stream, but hopefully I can do a pre-deadline stream Monday evening, but I'll let you all know on Instagram and Twitter if I'm able to do that deadline stream. Thanks for watching, best of luck for Game Week 22, I'll see you in the next video.